Welcome. Hello. And I'm so glad to see the chatmosphere is starting to activate. Hello and welcome, Juan, Karen, out of beautiful Harlem. You know, I love New York. I'll always love New York. I don't care if you have a communist mayor. I don't care. You can't keep me away from New York. Uh-oh, who's gonna get roasted is what Juana's asked Tampon to Kamala. Kamala thinks she's slick, doesn't she? Have you noticed she thinks she's gonna sell her book and skate away and run for president again, according to some of her fan base. Uh, her fan fiction is that she's running again. I want her to run, okay? I don't care if you get mad at me for saying it. Kamala provides a lot of comic material. She was very hilarious to me, I think. And I like the lady that plays her on TikTok. I want the lady that plays her on TikTok to have more funny stuff to give us on TikTok. So there you are. So, okay, we're picking back up. It's like we were on a long holiday vacation away from the retrospective. And this retrospective is retrospecting. It's really getting through these years pretty quickly. Hello, Jamie. Welcome. We're still winding back the timeline. Okay, so I said I'm going to drop. I know it was in the slide, the episode. I'm not going to do episodic things anymore. I'm just going to say the year, okay? Just to make it easy. Hey, Raylene, welcome. I'm glad you're here to catch the live also. So let's look at our first image for 1997, Rewind. Of course, I wish I could cover every single detail of 1997, but you know it's hard to do that without being here forever. Aurora's here. Wow, it's been a long time. California, look at that, Cali. Hope you're doing well. Hope Gavin Newsom is not being such a nuisance to you all. Hopefully that'll be short-lived. We will have something better for you all in California. I hope, okay? I can only hope. Okay, so we're doing Prozac Nation. And we're going to look into what is going on with that whole thing. Look at that, Stargirl Music Channel. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, so as you can see, all the images you probably are remembering. Put on your memory caps. Didn't they used to talk about memory? Put on your little memory caps. Let's go back in our timeline. Get in a time machine, okay? So as you can see, you probably, of course, like I said, remember a few things. Let's look at our first slide. Next slide, please. A lot going on. And I wanted to start with this because this really shook me. Did it shake you? You would have thought me and Di were best friends. This really hurt to get this news. I was really invested in CNN at the time, and I watched my news on a loop. And this was, it was just too much to watch the funeral, everything. It was too much. So it left a lot of just grieving. And she wasn't even our princess, but they called her the princess, the people's princess, right? And we're not into royalty and everything. It was something about her. We called her Princess Di. She came over to America and she just had what is it? It was something about her. It didn't seem like them. She seemed different, right? Not like them. She was so Authentic. That's the word everyone loves to use. She was more authentic that I can, that's the best word I can give for her. She seemed to have a true humanity, a heart, a soul. Maybe that's what it is. She has a soul. Maybe it's that simple. She had a soul. I said she has a soul. Did you catch that? Okay, we're not doing that today. We're not doing that, okay? Okay, because we'll get bogged down if we do. Okay, so we dealt with the loss of what we called her the People's Princess, Princess Diana Spencer, whatever. And this ceremony of watching the just pomp and circumstance of it all. I watched it. Did you all? I watched every bit of it, and it ran on repeat. Do you remember? So it was just a lot to take in for 24-hour cycles. Yes, so that kicked off 1997. It didn't kick off in the beginning of the year because she was still doing her activism. She was like the activist princess, right? She was talking about landmines and stuff. Do you remember? And she would go out and do her in the field work. And she was so photogenic. The current Meghan Markle, our American princess of Montecito, she has a thing, they say, for Princess Di. She wants to be like that. It's really hard. You can't be Princess Di. Sorry. Sorry, Megan. Be Megan. Try doing that. But you Princess Di, nobody can do that but her. Next slide. Would you agree? I like Meghan Markle, though. It's something about her. I'm rooting for her to get a clue. I just want her to get a clue. It would be nice. In 1997, we had a huge, look at that, $295 billion settlement for the breast implants that were going kaboom. And this is just this whole breast implant. You might have some breast implants. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I just never vibed with the whole thing. It's just not my thing. But it just the whole thing is just very what is it? Transhumanism almost, right? The whole thing. We're there, okay. They make us think this is all going to happen in the future. No, all the stuff they were talking about in those sci-fi movies, I believe it's just all a cyclical man just being a monster and using science to become just a tyrant. So it just repeats cycles of time, not linearly, but cyclically. Is that a word? Did I say it right? But I just, I've never warmed up to this whole thing. All the implants and all of this stuff being done. Sure, I'd like to have a few things done. Yeah, I'd like to look the way I looked before, but it just our relationship with everything, with aging and beauty, and we need a reset of our minds. And women are the victims of these industries. Dow, of all companies, Dow is a chemical company. You probably heard about the Dow family out of this is Delaware, I believe. Yeah, wow, we got the Biden family, the Dow family. Yeah, Dow Corning. You think of Corningware, Dow Chemicals, and you're putting this stuff in your body, and then now, bam, $295 billion settlement. Oh, are we surprised? Anyone? Shocked, right? So, yeah, here we are. We're here. We just need a reset. All right? Yeah. Strange and crazy times. Bold science. Mystery Science Theater. Did anybody watch Mystery Science Theater 3000? Yeah. All right. So next slide. Boy, Dow Corning. I could talk a lot more about Dow. Whew, what a family. If you remember the tank that the heir was driving, like, didn't he crash out and just like start driving a tank on his neighbor's lawn or something in Delaware? Craziness. A lot going on with those rich, super rich, old, so-called old money American families. They're, like I said, the heirs of these children, of these people, they don't do well because they came to their wealth in ill-gotten ways. It's cursed. Hello to everyone who's joining. Thank you. I'll check with you in just a bit. Okay, so it's titled Prozac Nation, right? So we're talking about the whole psychotherapy culture. Do you remember when this really took hold? We've always had the, psychiatric industry. It used to be seen more so for the elite. Remember, they looked at people that went to therapy. That was for the rich people. That was how we were, we had this expectation of mental health. So then it started to move more into the regular schmegulars, right? Us. And Prozac became a big, successful medication in terms of depression. And my generation, our generation, Gen Z, any Gen Z or not Gen Z, what the heck? What? Gen X, I got to get them all together. Gen X, this is the medication that targeted Gen X. And we had this whole thing about depression, listening to Prozac, lots of think pieces and cultural, this pill was big, right? It shifted something in our culture. Prozac. So this was when existential dread met big pharma. So we went from grunge to generic serotonin. And what we have in this modern world is our hormones and everything is just our chemicals, as they wanted us to refer to it. Our chemicals are just not balanced. And our emotions and everything in response to an unnatural way of living in this crazy world system. You can't be normal. I know people want to believe they're normal, but how can you be normal living in this world system? Tell me, please write a book. We want to hear from you, normal people. You can be a normie, but that doesn't mean you're normal. Okay, do you get that? If you're a normie, doesn't mean you're normal. That doesn't go hand in hand. So we have Prozac, a book even written, Prozac Nation, and it just numbed people out. If you had any experience with this medication, the numbing aspect of it, and just it feels like you were just put on mute, right? And you wonder, what is it also turning off in you? What does it do to the soul? And it was just sold as this hope in a bottle. And I don't know where we are with this medication. They've had many iterations, and now I don't know what we're on generationally, in the pharmaceutical industry. I don't keep up with the pharmaceutical industry like I used to. I used to keep up with all of it. Now I'm very much out of the loop, but I know they have new medications. So that's the thing. Next slide. Welcome to everyone. I'm going to get to I want to get through my slides so I don't take too much. these 2-hour live streams. I know they're long. I don't mind them if you don't mind them. Let me know if you don't mind the long live streams. I like them, okay? If you want to listen to me more so, it'll sound like a podcast. Or, in the background, you're cleaning the house, you're driving, you're stuck in traffic. Are we still having traffic now that we're having a lot of people going adios, leaving the country? I've heard that the traffic is getting better in the cities. Is that true? You said my friend who was on Prozac in the 90s is, no longer with us. See that? I had an experience with someone I knew that was on one of the, I guess, earlier SSRIs, and yeah, basically took himself out. So you don't mind the long ones? Okay, good. So in 1997, I always like to bring a crazy story because we've had so many crazy stories. I can only pick from a few of them, but this was crazy. The Great Lego Spill. I didn't remember this. Do you all remember the Great Lego Spill? I shouldn't be laughing at this environmental disaster, but a cargo ship somewhere in the realm, I forget where it was, okay, sorry, I forgot the details, but the cargo ship encountered a rogue wave, is how they described it, a rogue wave. I know about some rogue waves, yes. So a rogue wave hit the cargo ship and the containers just went overboard. You've probably been on TikTok and you've seen the horror of it all. There's a whole algorithm you can get on. It's pretty scary. The North Sea. Have you gotten on that algorithm yet? And just the way they video the North Sea and some of those talk about a rogue waves, plural, and just how the containers will go overboard. Pretty crazy. So this was a container that had a bunch of Legos, and the Legos were all in the ocean, okay? And they have washed up on the shore various Legos, which they look pretty cool. I mean, look at how cool they are. They have the Legos. I don't know. I've never seen these Legos. Who are Lego people out there? Do you know anything about this look? Because it looks like something else. Like, I don't know. It looks like another toy that I've played with before growing up. I can't think of it. It reminds me of something else, but they say that these are Legos and people have found them on the beaches of Cornwall. So over there, and I think that's probably a cool thing to find Legos washing up on shore, right? So let's go to the next slide. You hadn't heard of it, Juan? I hadn't heard of it. I don't remember it. But sometimes you'll are you like me? You'll hear something and you're like, maybe I do remember it. I don't know. The memory just kind of plays tricks on you. Okay, so 1997 is the year that Ellen came out, and they made a big deal about it, okay? This was very planned, I would say. This was not a spontaneous thing. I remember the trajectory of Ellen. She was a real cute, quirky, kind of awkward, right? Fun. We've all had a friend like Ellen. And just harmless, we thought. She has this, or she had a persona of being the nice one. And it wasn't necessary for Ellen to come out, really. I loved her shows when she had the first show or whatever. I thought they were cute. I did watch them. And when they made a big deal about her coming out, it took the fun out of it. It really did. And that's like kind of the cultural point of just the tipping point in a way of these coming out celebrations and how culturally we started to see more and more of this. Ellen was a big influence, I'll say. Now, it's interesting because this is what we're doing in this retrospective, people. Doesn't it seem like Chatmosphere, we're doing that? What is that called? We talked about it a lot in 2020. It's like future, what is the term? Future, whatever. It's interesting to go back onto this timeline of 1997 and then look at the timeline. I'll even say 2020 to 2025, in looking at Ellen, and now she's out of the country. She has been exposed for not being a nice person like they wanted us to think. Like, she's so far diametrically opposed to being a nice person. It's really amazing how the ones that are really not nice have been crafted as the nice ones, right? So, and then we look at her girlfriend at the time, and they made a big deal about, they were the it couple for the LGBTQ community. And now we have the weird death of this girlfriend. And I think wasn't there another girlfriend, some kind of mystery other girlfriend before this girlfriend? I think allegedly. Let me know in the Chatmosphere. Did Ellen allegedly lose more than one girlfriend? Let me know. So there you are. Ellen made a big deal about coming out. Look at the culture, the response to it. Oh, she's a hero. As Salty says, it's so stunning and brave for her, right? Oh, it was so hard for Ellen. Give me a break. I see the whole play now. I see what they did to us. Next slide. Hey, Joseph, it's a lot of Dave Walker. Welcome. I saw Paint Dance Live. Hello. Welcome, everybody. If I missed you, I'll catch up with you. Who doesn't love Sade? Our girl Sade. We love her. We don't care. She's from England, Africa. Where is she from? Jamaica. I think my girl has lived all over the globe. Okay, she may have had a vacation place in Jamaica, huh? And so, is it a crime that Sade doesn't want to maybe, I don't know, she may not have felt like doing what the cops wanted her to do. She's Sade. I think she's too fabulous, okay? I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. She's too fabulous to listen to the cops in Jamaica. Right? You love her too? So Sade got in trouble in Jamaica, and she got locked up, I think. Yeah. Did she get locked up? Let me see. She was arrested, y'all. Yes. Arrested in Jamaica for disobeying a police officer. Can you imagine? Can you imagine her with that deep voice that we love so much and just saying whatever? But yeah, I think she was having a few problems down there in Jamaica. But I wonder what it was really about, because I'm thinking, come on, give her a break. Was she doing anything that bad? Jamaica, was she? Come on. Yeah, that sounds like a good PR thing to have Sade hanging out on your island nation. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just making stories up in my head. But I don't know. I think I do remember her getting into some troubles. So maybe there was something weird going on. I don't know. Okay. She did. You said Jamaica. Jamaica me crazy. Yeah, I guess so. She was Jamaican them crazy down there. I think I've heard Sade likes a little bit of the lettuce too. So of course she's hanging out. Okay, before I say too much, okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, this was deep. I remember this. Do you guys remember this? Where was I? I feel like I was visiting LA when this happened. I don't know why. I feel like I was in Los Angeles when this happened. This story was so crazy. In 1997, they had these two guys right here, bank robbers. Like when you're in LA, it's a crazy place. They really have bank robbers. They have cops and robber chases on the freeways, and you're like, that's not normal, and everybody's like, yeah, it's normal out here. The cops and robber chases out here, and it's a nutty place. So this particular bank robbery, these guys were so heavily, remember, they were heavily armed and heavily protected, like the body wear, and they were delivering um, firepower to the LAPD that literally made them clutch their pearls. This one really was military grade, really. The feeling in the air, it was strange because the guys were being pow-powed at. Remember when the LAPD were firing at these guys and they weren't even moving? They were just coming at the LAPD. Not, it wasn't even touching them. They kept advancing. Do you remember that? You remember it? It was wild, wasn't it? It was just so eerie the way that the fires, the shots weren't even affecting these two. It took a lot to bring them down. So this was something for the books right here. I don't know anything about why they were armed to the teeth like that, but it was, whew, it shook me. So yeah, Hollywood, there you go. What a place. Next slide. You were blocks away. You heard them? Oh my goodness, Jamie was blocks away. Dang. And from what I remember, they were loud, right? Woo. Thank goodness you were fine. I know it had to really do something to you because, like I said, I have this memory because I would travel to LA a lot. And I kind of feel like I was in LA around that time. Anyway, we also have in 1997, I love to hear about all the cat burglars, right? Remember we grew up hearing about cat burglars? I don't know. Cat burglary is just funny to me because it's so audacious, right? They're doing this stuff usually in the open daylight. It's just funny. No wonder they make movies like what? I want to go back and look at some of those movies, right? Cat burglar movies, like the Pink Panther. Don't they cover that in the Pink Panther? Cat burglary. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing up my different genres. But we had in 1997 some bold thieves, cat burglars. Why are they pinning this on cats also? Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, cats are sneaky. Yeah, so a Picasso, the Tete de Femme, was stolen, right? We keep talking about all these works of art being stolen. How about the last one we covered? Remember the one we covered where the guys, they put the ladder up to the museum and went through the window and just stole the piece of art. I that's funny. Like stupid criminals are just funny. But you know what stupid criminals are not too funny are those Somalis. They're not funny to me. They're not funny like cat burglar funny to me. But this touch de femme was stolen and also recovered because they always get them in the end. So, these cat burglars. When are they going to learn, Dave? When are they going to learn? Okay, so next slide. What else was going on this year of 1997? Well, there you are, people. Don't you remember this? I'm amazed at how things start to progress. We had Netflix mailing us all of this paper killing the trees. Do you remember when they would just mail you lots of paper in the mail? I just remember being inundated with CDs between AOL sending them and Netflix getting into our, they were like a parasitic relationship beginning right then. So we had Blockbuster had already gone to the dinosaur bin, and now we have Netflix emerging. And yeah, do you like Netflix, people? What do you think? Did you were you an early adopter? And did you do these free trials? You got to love the free trial. I saw a funny meme. I love the memes. It was a meme, and somebody said, I think it was somebody waking up in a cold sweat. They're like, I forgot to cancel my free trial. And that's so true. When you know you're not going to remember it, right? Oh, I'll just set it on my calendar. Sure you are, okay? It's a trap, and I'm tired of these traps. I'm fatigued of free trials. Will they just leave us alone and just stop tricking us? I'm tired of the tricks. Are you? Tricks are not good. Okay, next slide. We've been traumatized. Oh my, look at that. Ooh, jump scare. I didn't give you a warning. I didn't know this was coming. Sorry, people. Okay, so let's see. We have this guy. Boy. We have Prodigy. What a name. Do you remember Prodigy? Prodigy had to, well, they got canceled, a little bit canceled. This is when they had a song called Smack My Bitch Up. And wow, right? Doesn't it sound like some gangster rap? This is a band out of, aren't they out of England? Did you like Prodigy? Oh, there's 420 Wild Dragon. Welcome. Did you listen to Prodigy, or is this your kind of music, anybody? You like Breathe? Breathe is your favorite? Okay. Welcome, did I say it right? Thank you. So you do like Prodigy. Were you okay with them having to redo the lyrics? They had to go back, this band, and they had to change this song. It lets you know culturally how things change pretty quickly. You look at comedy, you look at the things they were allowed to do in comedy, and now, oh my goodness, they would get canceled immediately for some of the comedy that we used to enjoy, that we used to laugh at, right? But now when you look at a lot of music, they're probably going to go over with a fine-tooth comb a lot of music, because the lyrics are being used in a lot of court cases. You've probably heard about some RICO cases that have happened where the lyrics have gotten people caught up in crime. They're bragging about their crime. How smart, right? So Prodigy had to change this. The Prodigy, I'm sorry, because we had Prodigy, the rapper, and then The Prodigy. I'm sorry to Prodigy's memory, if you know about Prodigy, everybody. But The Prodigy, again, had to fix this situation right here. Okay, next slide. You will not get me to say it again, the title. I will not. All right, so you talk about smack my B up. I don't know what happened on this flight here, but the Reverend Schuller, you remember Reverend Schuller? I used to listen and watch Reverend Schuller. Am I saying it right? Schuller, the Crystal Cathedral, right? Hour of Power. So In 1997, the pastor here of this glass church, beautiful glass church, right? Everybody, has anybody? Am I going to be offending anybody? Robert Schuller. Anybody attend the Crystal Cathedral out in California? Robert Schuller. I used to listen to Robert Schuller because my stepmother, she was into a lot of like motivational speeches and stuff. I'm an Amway kid. Yeah, I grew up an Amway kid. I thought I told you all. Let me know in the chatmosphere if you were an Amway kid also. But I grew up as an Amway kid. So I listened to motivational tapes. Okay, some kids might have been listening to other things. I'm listening to motivational tapes with my stepmother. Okay, she was preparing me to become a CEO. Okay, so I'm listening to Robert Schuller because she liked Robert Schuller's messages. A lot of her motivational tape collection included a lot of Robert Schuller and other pastors that were motivating in their sermons. So he was one of them. So quite naturally, I was surprised to hear that Robert Schuller smacked somebody up allegedly on a flight. Do you remember this? I think it was an attack. They said he attacked a flight attendant, and I think it was over his luggage, and he didn't want cheese on his charcuterie. Okay, he didn't want cheese on his charcuterie, and it made him mad. And somebody got smacked, maybe, allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't on the flight. That's what, like, if you listen to, she's one of my favorite YouTubers, Miss Lowdown or Miss Downlow, Miss Lowdown. And she always says, I don't know. I wasn't with them. So I don't know. I wasn't on this flight, but something happened, okay? And the thing that's really interesting about this, well, it's a lot of things that are interesting about this. The Crystal Cathedral, I'm into that, okay? So we're going to talk about that. It's a lot of moving pieces with this story, okay? Okay. Let's go to the next slide. It's a lot of interesting things about this story. Just hold on, okay? Next slide, please. You may have wanted to slap somebody while you're in the air as well. I don't know. But right here, this is the interesting part of the story of Robert Schuller. He was on his way to give the memorial service message for Malcolm X's widow, Betty Shabazz. So Betty Shabazz had died tragically in a fire that they said her grandson started. Do you remember this? Because I'm like, whoa, I kind of remembered a little bit about this, but I didn't know it was so tragic. It was her grandson, reportedly, from the headlines. They say the fire was started and she died in this fire. This is so tragic. So this was where Robert, okay, do you get the interesting twist here? Robert Schuller was on a flight. Something happened with the charcuterie and he didn't want the cheese and somebody got smacked maybe and something about his luggage. But he was on his way to do the memorial for Betty Shabazz, who died in a fire started by her grandson, allegedly. That's a lot, isn't it? Do you remember that? You do? Juan remembers that. That's a lot, my friend. Wow, right? Now the grandson, of course, that's a heavy mantle to be the grandson of Malcolm X, right? So you can see here the perp walk with this young man, tragic. And you could also see that he was emulating some of the iconic photographs of his grandfather, with the Muslim, what is it, the ring? We know that black and white picture with the finger towards the temple, which is some sort of Masonic hand gesture. For the Masons, you could let us know. It's not a secret anymore. We know a lot about your stuff anyway. I don't know what that thing is, I guess. But then he did a picture, the iconic the Pow Pals, looking out the window. Kind of interesting that he would do that. But it's understandable. Like I said, it has to be a heavy mantle to walk around with. But unfortunately, this young man died. He was unalived in Mexico. I don't know what the details are, but he's not here anymore. So something really heavy. I have my suspicions. There are a lot of curses in a lot of families, and the bloodlines are cursed for various reasons. I have my theories. So let's look at the next slide. I talked about the architecture. The reason I want to talk about the Crystal Palace, excuse me. Pardon me. Okay, let me take a little sip here. Welcoming you. Thank you. Oh, Raylene, you said in the best way. Okay, so we have from the 1800s. I just wanted to bring this as a visual because I think this is what Robert Schuller's church reminded me of. I never paid attention or learned about this from the 1800s because this is just history that we've been self-teaching, all right? And this palace is, I guess it would be considered a wonder of the antebellum world, I'll say, because that word, again, has that frequency that I love, and I want to use it again. So antebellum, the world had these kind of structures. This was not rare. There were many of these crystal structures. So when you think about the Crystal Cathedral out in California, it has nothing on this structure right here. And of course, they had strange fires. They said it was used for World's Fairs. And I want to talk a lot about the World's Fair that we are approaching this year in America, and connecting the very first World's Fair that happened in Philadelphia, and that would be 1876, the very first World's Fair in the U.S., in Philadelphia, and a lot of the things that are going to be coming up for us here in America this year, which is a World's Fair year. Okay, so we're going to talk about the American Jubilee. We're going to continue to have conversations about this, but I just wanted to focus on present and past and future, present. I asked somebody to help me with that term, future and present, past, future. We're looking at a timeline that isn't linear. So let's go to the next slide. What is that thing, that term? So we have the interior of this Crystal Palace. Look at it. They had living trees and all sorts of foliage. It's basically a greenhouse, and restaurants and parlors and all kinds of beauty. And this was the culture of the antebellum people. Very high culture. So we are expecting a renaissance. Some of us, right? Some of us are expecting a renaissance. So let's look at the next slide. All right, so this is a little more. You can see, and an aerial shot of the Crystal Palace. And I just wanted to just go back a little more in time, only because it reminded me of that modern architecture, which is so, it's like a shadow and a shell of what they used to create and build. Next slide. Can you imagine sitting inside this structure and having tea? All right, so 1997, in terms of technology, we have the Palm Pilot. Were you a Palm Pilot person? Because I know this was a big deal in the corporate world. I was in big pharma around these years, and a lot of my big pharma colleagues always bragged about, they were just obsessive about the Palm Pilot. And if you recall, when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were coming into power, there was a lot of discussions about Palm Pilots. They wanted to continue using them. And from what I understand, you can encrypt a lot of data on the Palm Pilot. I was not a Palm Pilot user, maybe just a little bit, because we had to use them in corporate America, but I wasn't personally into the Palm Pilot. I don't know why. It just missed me. I love technology, but for some reason I wasn't into the Palm Pilot. Next slide. So we have, you probably remember this. 1 minute. Evander Holyfield and Tyson's fight, in which Tyson bit the ear, the tip of Holyfield's ear. We don't hear a lot about Holyfield. I don't know. I haven't heard his name in years. I'm not sure how he's doing, but that was a strange ritual. I'm looking at it now in retrospect, and it looks like a brotherhood ritual, a very weird and sick ritual, biting off the ear of your opponent. Thinking about this as a ritual, the reason I'm saying that is that how was Evander Holyfield, how was he so still that he allowed that to happen? Maybe that's how did this happen, really, logically? I'm thinking like Evander Holyfield would have been able to fight Mike Tyson off in enough time that his ear wouldn't have gotten bitten off. I mean, unless Mike Tyson is like, he has some really amazing chompers that he could just take a quick bite out of your ear. It's got all the cartilage. It's like, how do you do that without? Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe I'm thinking too much into this now because I don't trust anything anymore, but I just don't trust the timing, how you could allow, you're strong. They were both strong men. I don't know how it happened. Let me know. Was it real? I know it was real, but it was a ritual. It was a real ritual. That's what it was. Next slide. What's your opinion on it? Bizarro. These people just look so bizarre now. Like, what the hell? They're weirdos. I wouldn't want to be around them. Okay, so Bill Cosby, one of our Philly Johns. And speaking of being around them, my mother knows It's like my parents knew all these people growing up there. In Philly, we don't care that you're a celebrity. Philly is such a mean city, cruel, rough city. They don't care if you're a celebrity. If you come there, it's like, so what? Get out of here. So it's easy that your parents will know somebody, Bill Cosby, whatever. So Bill Cosby, he used to look, let my mother tell it. He's a very generous man. He has put a lot of people through college. He has allowed friends to live in his mansion that was in our neighborhood. He had a friend living there for years and years. People take advantage of him. They don't follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things. He has been a generous man. I know that he's been a lot of other things, right? But I got to stand up for the good part of Bill Cosby. He has done a lot of things in terms of educating people and providing a lot in terms of that. So that's really positive. And also, he was aspirational archetype. They called him America's father, America's dad. So he had been beloved that much in America. So to watch his fall, it's humbling to see such a staggering fall from grace. And in 1997, this woman, Autumn Jackson, came with her mother, and they thought they were going to get a quick bag off of Bill, right? So she looks like Kris Jenner Kardashian to me, the mother. Doesn't she give you a Kris Kardashian vibe? It gives off that, yeah, is it Kris Kardashian? Right? Yeah. The mother Kardashian. So this backfired on Autumn. She fell. It was a nice fall, Autumn. Not so fast there, young lady. I'm not sure if everything worked out DNA wise, but Bill Cosby was not having it. And this girl was trying to, allegedly, from what they say, she was trying to shake Bill down for some, like I said, a bag. And she was the love child of Bill. I'm not saying Bill has been an angel, because I know some of his tea. If you're from Philly, you've heard everybody's tea. All the famous people. We know all of our Philly Johns, okay? We don't defend them. Will Smith can buy as much as he wants. Will Smith can come to Philly and name streets and avenues and do whatever, throw money. Is not going to stop the trouble that he's in, okay? We're not going to just stand by a bullshit kind of person, okay? But the thing about Philly, everybody is everybody's cousin. So we're all related in some kind of way. Are we? No. Are we like Somalis? Are we like Somalians or something? Because we're all cousins in Philly, just about. But anyway, look, this girl ended up going to jail trying to take money from Bill. It backfired, baby, because that's not how the plan was supposed to go. You weren't supposed to go to jail, girl. But they said she was trying to extort him. So that was a ugly chapter in Bill Cosby's life. I don't know what Autumn is doing now. I hope she's doing better, and maybe she found out who her daddy is, but I don't think it was Bill this time. Next slide. This time, I said. I don't think Bill has any love children. I haven't heard about Bill having any love children. Have you? Out there? I think all his kids were accounted for. Him and Camille, the Black Rockefeller. He's married to a Black Rockefeller. Can you imagine? I've talked about that. I'm going to talk about the Black Rockefellers. I've spotted also a Black. I'm going to find them. I am going to find them. I found not only a Black it's a lot of Black Rockefellers, by the way, but I found a Black, what is that big family? Not a Carnegie. It'll come to me. I found a Black, Is it Vanderbilt? I'll talk about it one day. I'm going to talk about the hidden black American yeah, old money, yeah, folks. Interesting. It's real. It's good tea. It's good rich tea. Okay. So 1997 we have a play that was based off of this book, and this is a cultural juggernaut, I would say, and it's something that I now look back in a different way now. So we have the play Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And this is one of those things that now when I look back at it, I see how they planted a lot of division between men and women, and all of this men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It just sounds stupid to me now. It just does. It sounds divisive, and it plays into this gender war that we've had. And the gender war has hit the Black American family in such a way, it has just decimated the relationships between Black men and Black women so much, more so than any other group. So it has been targeted in a way that something is going to have to give, because we have to have the family as the unit of civilization, of a nation. So everybody has to root for the family, period. We have to get the family underway. So it's all stupid to me now. It's just, like I said, I look at it with a side eye. Next slide. Okay, so we have Madeleine Albright. Madeleine Albright being a very influential person herself, I've done some uploads on her relationship to the Rice girls, the Rice women. That would be Condoleezza Rice and Susan Rice. Madeleine Albright had a very close relationship with those two women, mentoring. In fact, Madeleine Albright's father was a professor, and he was like a second father to Condoleezza Rice. So it's a lot of strange connections, and these are all neocon type of people, really disturbing. But the interesting thing in 1997 with Madeleine Albright is that she discovered that 3 of her grandparents, they say, it is reported that 3 of her grandparents were survivors of the Holocaust. And yeah, was it 3? She announced that, oh no, it's even more tragic. Listen to this. Madeleine Albright announces that she had newly discovered 3 of her grandparents were killed in the Holocaust. So that was an interesting announcement from Madeleine Albright. 3 of her grandparents were killed in the Holocaust. Also, in 1997, they aired Schindler's List, the complete movie, uncensored, without commercials, in 1997. So that happened. Next slide. So also we lost Carl Sagan. I happen to really like Carl Sagan. I watched Cosmos. I was such a nerdy kid. My goodness, I loved Carl Sagan. Did you guys love Carl Sagan? I love the way he talked and everything. So Tiffany Vinci, hello and welcome. Welcome. Yeah, so Carl Sagan died, and they did a monument or memorial for him that is on the campus of Cornell University. Did you know that? Anybody Cornell out there? Dharma's here. Welcome, Dharma. So a memorial was erected to Carl Sagan that stands on Cornell University's campus. So that's different, right? Look at the memorial. It looks like a obelisk. Did I say it right? Oblix. So yeah, that's really something. All right, so next slide. I think now when I look back at Carl Sagan, as much as I loved him growing up, I think that he misdirected and miseducated me and others. I just do. I don't believe in that stuff anymore. All right, so 1997, this is weird. File this under cuckoo. The ashes of the psychedelic guru Timothy Leary. Did you guys know a lot about Timothy? I never paid attention to Timothy Leary, a lot about him. I kind of looked at some stuff that was interesting. I never gave it too much thought. But the ashes of Timothy Leary and the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, were launched out into outer space, into space orbit. I don't know what to do with that, but that happened in 1997. The ashes, again, of Timothy Leary and Gene Roddenberry were launched into space orbit. That's the quote. Space orbit. Okay? So, yeah, that's that. And look at Timothy Leary, the perpetual, eternal teenager, right? They say the baby boomers are perpetual teenagers. They don't want to age. They war against aging. And it's apropos that he's standing with a sign that says, "Is there life after youth?" Because they worship youth. Is there life after youth? What a question. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. It's a lot going on. You talk about future facing whatever. I'm trying to remember that term. Did anybody help me with it? Future. It's that term I want, when in the future, in the past, or just meeting up somewhere in the timelines. But Eddie Murphy, back in 1997, was reportedly, allegedly, being very kind and helping people that needed rides at 3 a.m. maybe. He would help a lot of the working girls that, maybe that was the story I remember. So there was a trans woman, and this trans woman went by the name Addison Suley. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but the trans woman, he gave a ride, and later on, I guess maybe the trans woman talked about it and wasn't supposed to, and mysteriously, I guess, got locked out of her apartment and was trying to climb up the fire escape ladders, steps, and fell to her death. Isn't that convenient? So that happened. From what I hear right now, Eddie Murphy is going to be going on a comedy type of show tour, maybe, and he's got puppets. He has had puppets created, various people, puppets. I don't know. He's doing a puppet show. I've always loved puppet shows, a good puppet show when I was little. I haven't seen a puppet show since I was little, or have I? Maybe I have. But puppet shows, I don't know. I'm open to it. How about you? Do you think Eddie Murphy could do a fun puppet show? I don't know. But this is interesting. Trans, we talk about trans people now. And I find it very interesting that this trans woman mysteriously died. But the liberals on the left care so much about trans women. Why do we have these mysterious unalivings of the trans women and they just seem to be erased, right? Nobody seems to care. Especially if it's a powerful, famous man or person, whatever. But it's just fascinating how that happens or has happened. Next slide. You said, is he a puppet? That's funny. I didn't think about that play on. Okay, so in 1997, interestingly, oh, wait a minute. Did we miss this? Oh, we missed one. There was one next slide before this one, please. I think one was missed. Yeah. Before this one. He is a puppet. They all are puppets, right? Dave Walker. 1 minute. It was one before this one. It's like my no? Maybe something happened. The slide before this one. One more before. We skipped one. Okay, 1 minute. Welcome. You said Eddie Murphy is suspect. Yes. Timothy, Joseph says Timothy was an agent of the letter agency. I believe that part of culture creation. Yes. And mass mind control, social engineering. Absolutely. Okay, I'll just go on. I don't know what happened to the slide before that one. But in 1997, Africa, they have many nations in Africa. An African nation, Benin, which I think is part of Nigeria. I don't know. They've changed a lot of the names of nations. Have you noticed growing up, we knew the names of one name growing up, and then all these nations have had these changes in their names. And it's been confusing to grow up and learn one name and then now it's another name. A lot of these nations were just formed. They were just formed. Like in the 60s, a lot of them just adopted their constitutions and independence and all kinds of things are very new. Whereas I thought these places were ancient, but their names were different. So I don't know. Benin, I might be saying it wrong. Nigeria, Benin, anyway, is West Africa. They recognized, I guess, officially voodoo as a holiday. So it's a festival of voodoo. So voodoo is part of their culture over in this part of Africa and possibly other parts. But I just wanted to, highlight that African culture, when you look at it, this is what we're going to have to start agreeing to: objective truth. When you look at African culture, it has nothing to do with my culture. I have no African culture at all. So we are now beginning to understand ethnicity, bloodlines, and just because people have brown skin does not mean that they are from those places. So the Black American is not from Africa. Can we see this now? Is it starting to make sense? When you look at the culture that they have and the culture that we have, nothing, like night and day, nothing at all in common. other than skin color. Next slide. Because we're going to have to get this clear. Because this African American title has been a miscarriage, and somebody needs to be sued. I don't know. Is it Jesse Jackson? Somebody needs to be sued for the misidentification because it has caused a lot of problems. I am starting to see it. So here is more of the African culture. I want you to look at this. And I want you to tell me, have you ever seen a Black American doing anything like this? Have you ever? So when you want to say African American, I want you to realize that it is no such thing. This is made up stuff, and it has to be finally addressed. It has to be obvious that objective truth has to be, from this point going forward, this cannot be allowed anymore. And that's what's happening. You're going to start hearing more and more from Black Americans that are called delineating from Africa. We are not African American. I want to sue somebody over that. I think we should do a class action lawsuit for this. This has been, think about it. If, you might think I'm making a big deal about this, but when you wake up, if you have been mislabeled and this has been foisted on you, these terms and labels, and you have been under an identity crisis, that's what you see in Black Americans, an identity crisis. I have gone over to Africa. I'm trying to find my people. This is the motherland. I've made a complete ass of myself believing this bullshit. I've tried to, I was obsessed with the Nigerian weddings and the gillies and all of that. I wanted to be a part of it, and they treated me like I wasn't. They let me know you're not a part of us. Do you know how that feels to be rejected by the people you're told that are your ancestors, and you've been adopting this religion? We've been practicing their religions and cursing our bloodlines, playing with this stuff right here. Because we were led into a burning house to believe this shit. They even teach us this on the HBCU campuses. They have us dressing up with this traditional stuff. We have never had any clothing and garments like this in America. And you know it. You know it. This is a crime, a historical crime that happened, and it's going to be corrected. But my people do not practice this, and they should not be practicing this. You even have people from Nigeria, they are talking to Black Americans and telling them, don't mess with this. This is not your culture. It's not your spiritual system. Don't mess with it, because a lot of them have come away from these things. They have started to come out of this darkness. And I don't care if I'm offending some people who want to claim this is your ancestry from America. This is not your ancestry if you're a Black American. Next slide. Look at this. I don't have anybody in my family that does any of this, that looks like this. Nothing. But look at the people in the background that have traveled over here to look at all. They're white people. White people eat this stuff up. not all of you, but a lot of white liberals, they eat this stuff up. And they go over here and they start dabbling with this stuff and they get fucked up. You talk about finding out. There have been stories of white girls practicing this stuff because they think it's so, a culture, right? You think it's so cute. And you want to play the drums that are sacred and are only supposed to be played by men, and you want to do a girl boss thing. You want to integrate a spiritual system without knowing about this, and then you wind up unalived. Keep playing around with this shit. Next slide. I don't have no cousins or aunties that look like this, okay? So I'm getting offended being called African American. This shit has to stop today. So we have, you can see now how the culture had changed. You have Dennis Rodman in 1997. He had, I guess he was always getting in the headlines for different reasons, but I think he had to settle with a cameraman for $200,000. He had kicked this cameraman in his groin. And so he was being termed Dennis the Menace. But when you look at him and the transformation of Dennis Rodman, it was disturbing because the tattoos and the piercings and the hair color, the Kool-Aid hair colors, it was just off-putting. And then when I look at this picture of him with the top hat, he looks like Papa Legba. If you all know about voodoo, speaking of voodoo, he gives a Papa Legba dark kind of vibe. But it just shows you how the culture changed from the way that our athletes used to look. They didn't have the piercings and the tattoos. They were just clear-skinned, clean-cut. And again, we are going to have a renaissance, okay? A jubilee. All right, next slide. Renaissance and jubilee. Those are the frequencies. So, we jumped a whole lot of slides. What happened? Oh, yep, that right there. Okay. So I wanted to say in 1997, our president, Clinton, he had his dog, Buddy. Do you remember Buddy? Clinton was brilliant, or whoever his handlers were. They were so brilliant. They knew how to manipulate the emotions and build this cult of personality with him. But the dog was just a perfect thing. It was just funny, Buddy, Bill and Buddy, his dog. It was cute. I mean, you could find sweetness in anything, right? Next slide. So we had also, in 1997, we had a young activist. And her name was Butterfly something. Butterfly. What was her? She had given herself a cute little name there. Butterfly somebody. She had protested the, I guess, deforestation, and she set up a abode, a domicile in a tree. And she lived in the tree for I don't know how long. Maybe somebody will let me know if you know. She lived in this tree. Oh, that was her name. Julia Butterfly Hill. That's a cute name. Julia Butterfly Hill. She was living in a California redwood tree in Humboldt. That's where they have the good salad in Humboldt, if you know what I mean. So she was protesting against deforestation. I remember her, And I don't know if she lived in the tree 24 hours a day. I don't know if this was just staged. I'm not sure. But the idea of living in a tree, having a tree house, that would be fun. I've always dreamed of having a tree house. But yeah, so she was protesting. I don't know how far she got with it. I don't know what's going on with the trees in America. But I know I've always appreciated the quality of the products that are made in America and from our own lumber. We have some of the best lumber out on the Pacific West, right? I've been up there to Weed, California, on the way to Mount Shasta with my uncle, and looking at the trees in California. It's just something. I could talk about this forever. But anyway, a lot happened in 1997. It was a lot more going on, but this is just, again, a little summary. And we will get into more as we continue the retrospective. I'll keep you posted on any other things that are going on. I want to do music again. I've tried to find ways to do it. But anyway, I'll keep you posted on things that are going on. I'll continue to do these rewinds. And give me any suggestions if you have them, feedback. I appreciate it, okay? And I'll see you soon. Take care. And thanks for joining me. And if you're watching on a replay, I hope you enjoy it. And thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.